back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at Aussie Formula Racing for round 11 of Season 8, Tier 1 here at the Singapore Street Circuit. And after the Tier 3 race we had just before, we are set for a big one. Our drivers are underway for qualifying one format here. And it's going to be an epic one. We've already got one of the Aston Martins coming out onto the track now. We'll be joined a little bit later by Seb, who's just wrapping up after Tier 3 finish, so he should be joining during qualifying too, but you're stuck with me for the first 18 minutes of qualifying. So it looks like everyone's opting to use the softs and the mediums. We do see sometimes drivers opting to use the intermediate tyres to save a set of tyres for later qualifying sessions, but so far looks like everyone's on the slicks. A crush coming out of the pits as well. Looks like one of the Haas's too. I think that is Pepsi. No, Trent on the medium tyre. We do have Mikau selecting the inters, so one driver is brave enough to go around on the wet tyre. Thank you very much for the follow, Jacob Knight. Glad you could be with us this evening. We've got full qualifying format here for Tier 1, and then into our 50% race, and then afterwards we'll be doing Tier 2, which will be short qualifying format and another 50% race. So plenty of action for you tonight. Maybe you can join us for the whole event. And this is we'll be on a break next weekend, so the Real Life Azerbaijan Grand Prix will clash with one of our time slots, so we're having a week off before we do the final two races of the season before F1 2022 comes out. Until then, let's jump on board with Simdogger in the Aston Martin as he goes around for the first flying lap in Tier 1. And a little bit of traffic coming out of the pits there. It was the Haas of Apollo Pepsi just getting fed out onto the apex of the corner, makes it very tricky. And he comes around for a flying lap, but Simdogger did pretty well to negotiate it as he comes down the end of the first DRS straight, braking around that 75-meter mark, using all the track he possibly can. And being the first driver on fast lap, he goes purple in the first sector. It's a very technical Sector 2, lots of tricky off-camber corners as it comes to the Singapore sling. And very tricky left-hander into a very slow right-hander, then across the bridge, a little bit understeer and a bit of oversteer as well. He slapped the wall, and that's going to be his lap done. Yeah, let's see if he got any wing damage from that. Doesn't look like he did, but definitely that lap is going to be all done and dusted. Now, let's jump on board with Trent, I think was the next driver on a lap. He's on the medium tyre, so keeping some softs for later on in qualifying. Now, I believe that the championship for the drivers here in Tier 1 can be decided tonight. If FIBA, I think if he can score just a couple of points, he is guaranteed to win the Drivers' Championship, so it can be done today. I think only Big Al and Mikau are the only two drivers who can beat him if they get wins in every single race for the rest of the season, and FIBA does not score any points. So it's all in FIBA's hands, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to get the championship over and done with tonight before the break. And expect a decent qualifying from him, followed by a commanding race if his recent form is anything to go by. But staying aboard with Trent as Crush set to 135.4. Pretty decent lap here on the mediums for Trent. And he crosses the line with 136.6, so solid time there. Going to jump over with CJM and the Mercedes, who was tipped last weekend at Monaco to do a very, very good lap, but he ended up, actually the race results, but he ended up crashing out, unfortunately. I think he had a bit of a drama at the back as Artanis goes quickest with a 35.450, 400ths of a second quicker than Crush. That's a great time there from the Williams driver. comes around the final corner. And CJM goes P4 with 136.9, it's a couple of turns slower than Trent on the same tyre. We'll jump on with Ferrari of Combined YouTube, who's actually gone, oh, we've got an Artanis very slow there. Looked like there was some debris as well. Not sure that belonged to the Williams or if that's from someone else. But Combined went purple in that first sector, which is quite impressive. Good, he's on the pad, so solid time there. McCown comes across on the 202.6, doing that first run on the Inters. A bit of oversteer there from Combined on throttle. Nice lap so far from Combined as it comes under the grandstands. And this is one of the trickier parts of the track to do on pad because you've got so many left, rights. You see a little bit of understeer there. Into the second last corner, he flicks it in, clips that inside curb, and he'll come across the line. Goes P4 with 136.7, so he's the slowest of the soft runners so far, even slower than Trin's time on the mediums. We'll jump further back to Apollo Pepsi, who's, oh, he's lost it almost in identical fashion to, I think it was Simdogger at the start, so unfortunate for him. That's his lap done and dusted. It's actually his second lap on those medium tyres, so I think he invalidated the first one. Let's jump on board with FIBA and the McLaren, our championship leader. And potential champion if he can win here tonight. A little bit of wheel spin coming out of the hairpin. Tiptoes it around the right-hander, coming into this final sector now. Using all of the curb he can possibly get away with. Some of these corners, the game is quite forgiving with the track limit, so you'll see these drivers trying to exploit every little millimetre they can get away with. And comes to the final couple of corners under the freeway. And so close to that Singapore wall. Looks at across the curb for the second last corner. And through the final corner. Goes fast with 134.987. Great time there from Bieber. What else we've got on an outlap? I think we've got Eckham is going to be on an outlap in a moment. We'll just follow the Aston Martin driver as he goes around that outlap. This Combined comes across line with a 36.540 on his second lap. Just pipping Trin's time there, so he is now quicker than the medium runners. Eckham there, not realising that Bluey and T-Mac are not on flying laps. This man making a bit of a gap now between him and the Red Bull. Traffic is one of the big things that you need to negotiate here around Singapore. Very similar to Monaco. You really want to get you a little bit of traffic. At least being such a long lap, it is a little bit easier to find your space around Singapore. But still, want to make sure you don't start your lap too close to the car in front. Or one mistake from them and you will have to abort your lap. As Eckham leaves a bit more to generate that energy into the tyres, and here we go. He's going to start his first flying lap in Q1. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. I think Psycho, so we're looking at 135.5 for first cutoff and then a 35.1 for second cutoffs at the moment. Crush, Artanis, FIBA looking like they're safe, but everyone below might be in a bit of trouble. So we'll keep an eye on those predictions there, Psycho. Let you know if you are right or wrong. Now, Eckham, as I mentioned just before, coming up to a bit of traffic here. He's got a Haas that's triggering some yellow flags up ahead. And Pepsi stays out of the way as he comes into the Singapore sling. It looks like he's got an Alpine and a Red Bull up ahead as well. I think they're both on laps. It's T-Mac and I think that was Bluey as well. T-Mac looks like he's gone very slow. Ekem tries to get a bit of a tow, but T-Mac is not interested in helping out at all. Goes very slow on the exit, so Ekem has to go the long way around. Goes purple in the second sector though. This looks like a good lap from the Aston Martin driver. Thank you, Seb. No worries. I can see just how much the rear of the car is moving under throttle. He's really trying to get as much out of this lap as possible. Had to get out of the throttle a little bit there for the left-hander to make sure he didn't slap that wall. And he comes across the line P4 with 135.664. Jumping ball with T-Mac is invalidated, but he's winding up to start a new lap. And here he goes. Poly Pepsi still hasn't set a time yet. He's just in front of T-Mac here on the medium tyre still. Hoping to try and get his way through to Q2. His T-Mac slaps the wall there, DRS protection point, and I think he's damaged his wing, but that's not ideal. It would have cost him a little bit of speed on the straight, and he goes very deep over the curb, but keeps it within the limits, so doesn't invalidate. Might be getting a little bit of a tow here from Apollo Pepsi up ahead as he comes into Singapore Sling, but tyre compound difference between these two is going to hurt a little bit, or is that going to be Trent? No, it is Apollo Pepsi. He should be on the mediums. Looks like the game's showing that he's on the red soft compound, but I feel like he's getting very close to him. No, it is the medium. There we go. Coming into the final sector now, very tight and twisty section. This is not where you want to get close to a car. You get a bit of aero wash coming off the back of them. A bit of understeer, but it looks like T-Mac's doing okay. And comes to the second last corner. Oh, he grazes the Singapore signage there on the outside. Takes a chunk of curb. The inside of the final corner comes across the line, and that's P6 135.685. On board with Anacat and the Mercedes at the moment. He's setting his first flying time. Thank you very much for the follow, Active Nath and Venti Gaming. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. And Anacat has aborted this lap, so it looks like he is not happy with it. He's going to go again in a moment. And jumping board with Sandisi now, and Alfa Romeo is also invalidated. So a few of the drivers really getting unstuck by the track limits here, and there's not much time left. Just 4.5 minutes left in this Q1 session. And as Psycho mentioned, cutoff is looking like a 35.5. And at the moment, that's everyone from P5 down. Not quite quick enough at the moment. And Sandisi comes into the pits, so he is not going to get time in on those tyres. So he's going to come in and chuck on another set and basically do one-shot quality to get out of Q1. Let's see. I think Anacat's still dawdling around. Let's see, we've got Bakemate and Mikyao look like they're about to finish some laps. Bakemate comes around the final corner and he goes P11 with a 36.0 as Mikyao is doing his first run after switching out those enters. Just 3 minutes 44 remaining. And Mikyao will come around the final corner now. Expect a decent time from him here. Looks like a pretty solid second and third sector. That goes P3 with a 35.1. Good time there. Now let's see who else is on a lap. We've got Bluey and the Red Bull. Still yet to set a time. He was late entry into tonight's race. And we'll see if he can do enough to get out of Q1. Now at the moment, the driver at risk is Andocat, who has not yet set a time. So at the moment, Apollo Pepsi's 37.1 on the medium tyre is good enough to get him through to Q2. But that depends on whether or not the four cars behind him are able to set a time for quali ends, and a big tank slapper from Bluey across the curb there. That's going to hurt his time as well, but still keeps this lap valid, so that's what's most important for him. He has to get a time on the board, but he slapped the wall just before the Singapore sling, and that's going to have hurt his time and possibly his car as well. He may have picked up some wing damage there, and this is not the place you want to do it. He's gone deep too. He's taking too much curb too fast, and that's going to hurt his time all the way down here to the hairpin. He's locked up a little bit as well, run deep. And again, that's going to hurt him all the way down the straight here. Yeah, he's just pinched a brake there as well, not quite taking as nice an apex as possible. Big Al retiring for the session. He's happy with his 35-1. And Louis really not attacking these corners. I think he may have actually switched his ERS off. I think he is done. For this lap anyway. He might be building up to go again. We're going to jump forward with Simdogger in the Aston Martin. It's gone purple in Sector 2. This Blue, yeah, set of 39.5, so he's currently the driver at risk, but that is not a competitive time, and he will be knocked out if he can't put it together another lap before the end. We've got enough time for everyone to do one more lap, but they're cutting it very fine. There's Simdogger comes around the final corner now, very committed across the curb, using every little bit of track, goes P14 with 136.129, and he is done for qualifying 1. Now jumping on board with Sandeezy and Alfa Amaze, managed to get back out onto the track on a new set of soft tyres after invalidating his first run. This is basically one-shot quali for him to get out of this Q1 session. I've got a Poly Pepsi on an outlap as well. It looks like he's going to make it around to do a lap. He's coming around the final corner now, so he will have time to complete it. A few other drivers retiring. They're happy with their times at the moment. And 30.5 is what our friend Psycho predicted. Looks like it might be a bit lower than that. Thinking our cutoff time might be around about a 37 at this point. Maybe a 36.5. As that FIBA has retired from the session as well. He's happy enough with that. As that Sandeezy still going with his lap. Looks like it's going to be a fairly decent one. He's got Bluey just in front of him as well, who's about to complete his improved time, you'd hope. And Bluey comes straight into the pits. I think he's validated, so Sandeezy will come across the line. Goes fastest to 134.867. Where has that come from? And he is safely through. We've got Simdog is now the driver at risk with a 36.1, but he is also on a lap. I think we'll jump on board with him now. Yes, Psycho, you did get it wrong. Simdog is coming into the pits here. He's not going to improve. We've got Ponton on a lap, but he looks like he will be safe. Going to complete his lap though. We've got the Mercedes of Andocat behind as well. Going to complete his time. So Ponton improves to P10 with a 135.7. Andocat will come across the line as well. Using every bit of the track too. Goes P13 with 135.824, and that leads it down to Apollo Peps, who's currently half a second up on his time. It's good enough for 36.6. Can he get any more out of this final sector? He comes across the line, and it's only good enough for P17, I think. That the graphic disappeared before we could see where it was, but I don't think he found enough time to break into the top 15. Let's have a look at that. Sandeezy plucked that 34.867 out of nowhere. It's quicker than Phoebe's time, but it could have been a bit of track evolution there. So Baitmate scraped through with a 36.061. And we see Simdogger, Apollo Pepsi, and Bluey knocked out of qualifying. So just a 10th separated. There we go, Baitmate and Simdogger there. So close there for Baitmate. He left it pretty fine, but the right call in the end. But Simdog a bit unlucky there, and Apollo Pepsi as well pulled a pretty decent lap there at the end, but not quite good enough to get through. And Bluey, unfortunately, there appears that he invalidated his final run, so he will not be competing in Q2. Minions, are there a lot of kangaroos in Australia? Yes, there are a lot of kangaroos in Australia. Not necessarily in the cities, but definitely out in the country you can see them quite a bit. Maybe not every 5 meters, Matthias. Sneaky, I ride one to school and I have another in my backyard. Yeah, sure. Solid F though, Sim. Good job there. Alright, here we go for Q2. We see the, looks like one of the Alpines on the way out on track. Might be Big Al, and it is. Sneaky saying, Watchdogger going through the Danny Rick phase is sad. Ooh, that's a big call there, Sneaky.
That is quite harsh right there.
How are you doing, Seb? Nice that you could join us.
I've washed my face. I've laid on the floor for about 10 minutes, and then I've gone and sorted out some dishes and ordered an HSP.
Oh,
so,
wonderful! That sounds like a good evening.
Oh, it's a great evening, and now I get to talk with you, Gussie Wussie.
Absolutely, it's going to be great. Yeah, we just wrapped up Q1, so we had a couple of drivers get knocked out there. Got an 18 driver field here in Tier 1. We're just waiting for Big Al to complete his outlap. Currently just gone out of the hairpin, so got a little bit more until we start our lap. Now, Seb didn't seem to have a usual kind of form in the Tier 3 race a little bit earlier. He qualified 10th, I think, is what I saw. And
something like that.
Yeah, just no time to practice this week, or just not your
track? No. I had the time, it's just... Oh, did I have the time? I had the time, I just didn't practice, didn't enjoy the track. Came on, no practice, 30 minutes prior to the race, just hopped on, did a couple of laps and sent it.
And Singapore's one of those tracks where even if you practice every night all week, one incident in turn 1 and your race is ruined, so...
Partially to blame for it. I went slightly deep, but I didn't think I'd get absolutely slammed into after I pulled the car up. Well, so
Ali's just in the chat. For those who don't know, he's Big Al's brother, who we're on board with at the moment. So he just said that he beat Seb just now, so he's ready for T1. So we could see the Ali brothers back in Tier 1.
I'm still waiting for Ali to get his Tier 3 race win. It's yet to come.
Even I've got a Tier 3 race win. What are you doing, Ali?
that's pretty poor, Ali. Come on.
Anyway,
come on.
Let's focus on Tier 1. We've got Big Al here doing a pretty good job on this first lap.
Fun fact, Gus, Ali and Al are brothers.
They are brothers, as I mentioned not 30 seconds before, Seb, but thank you for reminding our viewers once again.
Oh, sorry.
But here we go. So almost, I think everyone's out on track at the moment. So all 15 drivers in Q2 are on track, either on a flying lap or on their out lap. We still have Mikau on the intermediate tyres, so he's quite happy to set his banker on and not a slick. So interesting move there from the AlphaTauri driver. That might be another one of Psycho's strategies there that is running.
Might be looking at a med hard there, Mikau.
Possibly. Well, we've got a few drivers on the mediums at the moment. Any chance they're going to be doing multiple runs, or they do one run on the medium and then one on the soft towards the end of the session?
It depends how confident they are. It's generally a two-stop. The med hard will work around here, though, so you just don't want to be caught on a soft hard.
Big Al into the pits, so he's not going to complete that run on the soft. So I wonder if they were some used soft tyres that he was just getting a feel for the track before he chucks on the mediums.
And Psycho stating that AlphaTauri are getting some data for Tier 2. Unfortunately, it's hard to get data on those inter tyres when it's not actually raining. So, bit of kerfuffle there, Psycho.
Ooh, and Ekim as well just jumped on board. He has completely backed out now. He did invalidate that first lap as Pondon set to 136.5 on the mediums. Now, actually, I think Ekim invalidated this next run as well at the final corner. So no one is really setting times at the moment. Ringo's purple in the first sector, but I wonder if we're seeing everyone's not wanting to qualify on the softs. They're wanting to actually start on the mediums.
Potentially, we could be seeing that.
So T-Max set to 136.6 on the medium tyre, a little bit slower than Pondon, but he takes a lot of curb at turn 1, T-Mac. Very naughty.
Very naughty, invalidates, but worth noting is Andocat goes fastest.
Feber's had a big spin at the final corner. He's lost his front wing.
That will put his Q2 in a bit of an odd spot for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's invalidated that lap as well, so he hasn't even counted that for him to rub salt in the wounds. And as we see, Artanis a 36.081.
All those laps coming on meds, but worth stating is all track position key around here, but also anything can happen in that race. We saw 2 safety cars in Tier 3. Highly likely you'll see some more here.
Absolutely. So minions, so some drivers will opt to do a lap on the intermediate tyres in full qualifying because the game doesn't give you enough of the slick tyres to get through the 3 sessions if you do make it through to Q3. So they'll use a set of intermediates to do their banker lap, and then they'll chuck on the slicks to do their quicker lap in the session. So hopefully they resolve that in the new game, and it comes out in just a few weeks' time. So on board with Combined YouTuber at the moment in the Ferrari. He's just coming through the final couple of corners now on the soft tyre, though. So we do have Batemate and Trin on the soft tyres, setting a 35.2 and a 35.8. So a bit of a mix-up in strategy here. Be interested to see how it plays out over the next 9 minutes.
Looking at who's actually set lap times, I don't know, we'll leave Mikau out of this, but there's an even spread of 4 meds and 4 soft times on the board.
Absolutely, and those soft times as well, I don't know if they're going to be represented. I think Crush might have been sandbagging a little bit there with a 37.1. His teammate 36.5 is usually a little bit slower than him, so keep an eye on Crush. I think he may have had either his ERS or the engine turned down for that lap. Staying with CJM as he comes through the last couple of corners. His ERS is off as well. And he comes straight into the pits. Hadn't been validated, so I think we're seeing a bit of gamesmanship here from a few of the drivers.
Big Al is on a lap.
On the medium tyre, here we go. 8 minutes left in the session.
This is crucial for him. 8 minutes, as you said. He needs to get this time out because his session will look a bit bleaker and there'll be a bit more pressure on him on the end of it. We haven't... have you talked about the standings for combined constructors and drivers?
FIBA in the Drivers' Championship, I think he basically just has to score a couple of points to get the win. Because Mikau and Big Al have to win every race for the end of the season, and FIBA can't score any points.
I can confirm, FIBA, to win the championship, needs 8th place in a fastest lap, and he'll have it secured.
And guessing 7th place or higher without the fastest lap will be fine?
Yes, sir.
There we go. And yeah, mentioned in Q1 as well that I think he'll just be wanting to qualify on pole and just drive away at the start of the race like he has done oh so often this season. Yeah, especially given we're about to go into a 1-week break as well. He'll want to get the championship done and dusted here tonight. He doesn't have that in the back of his mind. Only practices for the next race.
Exactly. He'll have an extra 3 weeks to mentally prepare as well for the next season if he chooses to.
Absolutely. Oh, his Big Al had a big snap oversteer there. He still managed to have 35.7 on the medium tyres there, but could have been a bit better without that mistake at the end.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see him go out on the same set of meds, only get 1 set of meds in qualifying, short or full. But wouldn't be surprised seeing him go out on them again and improving by 2/10.
Absolutely. And jumping aboard with Ekim now. He's on the medium tyres, so this looks like he's going to set his fastest time on the mediums.
Quite smooth so far. Oh, I spoke a bit too soon, Gus.
Yeah, he looks like he might... He's a pad driver as well, like him, isn't he? His inputs are just a little bit jerky. And it's one of those tracks where it is going to be a lot more difficult on the pad because he's just got so many left, rights.
Feeling his way nicely through that first sector and the first 3 corners of the second sector, though.
Absolutely, taking a lot of curve with the Singapore sling. And negotiating that little bump as well. And it's so easy to lose the rear of the car there. We saw in Q1 a few drivers lose it there. He's controlling it nicely, keeps it in a nice high gear coming out of the hairpin to control that wheel spin down the straight. Yeah, it's not looking too shabby this lap. He goes purple in sector 2. so much curb through these final sector corners, and you really have to if you want to get every 1/10 of a second out of this lap.
Yeah.
Kind of missed the apex there slightly. Boy, just touched that curb. Didn't quite carry as much speed through the Singapore left hand as we usually see. Committed through the last corner, goes P2 with a 35.664. Good time.
Yeah, we see a lot of those drivers absolutely hog those curbs, and most of the time they will pull you through the corner. So we'll see FIBA, and this will be the perfect example of it. Turn 11 and 12, you can see that car just gets a little bit of a latching onto the curb and hooks it around the corner. Out of 13, you get the DRS. Now 14, you don't really want to get too much of that inside curb, otherwise it will unsettle the car. Brake hard, just clip it. Now this is the crucial section, Gus, and this is why we saw Ekim do it, and we see most of these drivers do it. 16, car comes over. 17, your car will hook onto that inside curb if you take it perfectly, and he's just about done that, FIBA. Not only corner though. 19, not necessarily, but 20 and 21, you'll get that same effect. See how far over left he was compared to Ekim.
Yeah,
how much more speed he carries. Yeah.
The guy with 35 flat, great time there from FIBA.
Yeah, you can call that a day in this second qualifying session.
Now, interestingly, Mikau is doing a lap on the soft tyres, so he is not qualifying on the mediums for Q2.
Very interesting.
And his teammate as well on the soft tyres, sitting in P2 with a 35.2 as well. So AlphaTauri not trying to start on the mediums at all.
I wonder if he wants to get that track position, because he may have just been seeing out how this quality session was going to unfold through those first 10 minutes, and then make a decision with 5 minutes left what he was going to do, whether he was going to go soft or meds. And I think that would be the right call for Mick.
Well, at the moment, cutoff times are 36.591 from Combined YouTuber. Psycho says we have a big brain plan. I don't know about that, Psycho. You were wrong about the cutoff times, maybe you're wrong about the strategy as well.
I wonder if Mikau could be gunning for a P11 here, a P12. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they'd be trying.
Just invalidated though, so he's 12th fastest at the moment as Ekim has retired in the pit, so he's happy with his 35.6.
And Trent P2 as well.
He said I didn't say it would work, so nice. But he's winding up to go again, and I'm going to jump on board with let's jump on board with Sandeezy. He's got an Alfa Romeo train at the moment on the medium tyres, so they're going to try and go for the top 10 on the mediums. But look at this, we've got Biala, Tanas, T-Mac, Ando, Pond, and combined all on the soft tyres.
Alpha Venturi boys, also known as the Alfa Romeo boys, yet to set a lap time.
Yeah, so currently all those drivers between 5th and 9th have set their fastest time on the mediums, but they are on outlaps on the soft, so they might be waiting for the final minutes of, or final seconds of qualifying to see whether they're going to complete those laps.
I think you need to. If you're not starting P11 or 12, you need to be decently up there if you want a good chance at points, barring no safety cars during the race.
In Q1, we had Sandeezy fastest overall. He was able to pip FIBA right at the end with on the soft tyre, so keep an eye on him there. He's gone purple in the second sector as well, and he's getting a little bit of a tow from his teammate Captain of Gold in front of him, who's also on a lap on the medium tyre.
Looks on it, doesn't he?
Well, he scraped the wall, but I don't think that's going to slow him down or damage his wing. He's absolutely driving his car to the limit and beyond. As he hits the wall again, he is absolutely reading the neck of this car. Another little wobble across the curb, the second last corner, and he throws it in to the final one. Doesn't quite carry the speed as we've seen the others, and he goes P4 with a 135.464, and Captain of Gold P9 with a 36.224.
Oh, Gold in a bit of spot of trouble. T-Max up 6/10. Pondens just started his lap. Jackson as well, same with him, and Big Al up by 2/10 as well.
CJM across the line 9th with 35.886 and pushes Artanis into the danger zone with a 136.081. Oh, and he's lost it as well, so no more laps from him. And is that going to validate Mikau? Is Mikau still on a lap? No, he's on a cooldown lap, so he's P4 with a 35.4.
T-Max tucked himself into P5. We got Combined YouTuber on a lap as well. Crush about to start his final run on those meds, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as well.
Yeah, on board Artanis at the moment is currently P11. And we've got our Tannis, Captain of Gold, Pondon, Combined YouTuber, and Crush all at risk of being eliminated as Big Al goes fastest with 35.9 on the soft tyre. We've got a yellow flag here. Looks like Pondon has binned it coming out of the hairpin. He's parked on the left-hand side of the road with no front wing, so he is not getting through to Q3. So we just had Combined YouTuber do a P9 with the 135.620. He has made it through at the moment. Now jumping up to Captain of Gold, who's almost completed his final lap. As the drivers start getting the checkered flag. And Captain of Gold will come across the line, and he only improves to P12. Going back to our Tannis, he comes across the line, P3 with 135.154. And Ponzon has abandoned his lap with his missing front wing. Oh, as he looks to go to the checkered flag just to complete it. Now we got CJM is aborted his lap by the looks of it, so he will not be making it through either. And the Ferrari of Crush is invalidated, so that is going to be your top 10 for the Tier 1 race here at Singapore. Big Al putting in the fastest time on the softs, so it looks like FIBA and Sandeezy will be starting the race on the medium tyre, and everyone else in the top 10 will start on the softs. And we had knocked out of qualifying 2, Ekim, CJM, Captain of Gold, Pondon, and Crush, with the cut-off time being a 35.620, a little bit slower than we had predicted by Psycho at the start of qualifying.
Yeah, well done to those who did make top 10, and Ekim and CJM in decently good spots, regardless of if they're outside of that top 10, Gus. They'll be starting on those fresh meds if they do so choose to, and they've got that chance of that one stop and that different strategy to the rest of the field.
Also, of course, the game accidentally puts you onto the hard tyre, like we saw a number of drivers in Tier 3 have happened. There's quite peculiar. We had about a quarter of the grid starting on the hard tyres, and a few on the softs and a few on the mediums, so we had a bit of a mixed bag. I expect Tier 1 to be a little bit more organised than we were in Tier 3.
Well, interesting enough, there's a couple of cars still yet to retire, and so those cars that are still on track are gaining tyre wear, especially if they've done laps on those tyres that have been their fastest. That might be a slight issue come race time.
Yeah, it's another bug in the current Codemasters game. Hopefully they iron out when the new game comes out. There we go, 34.946 from Big Al. Only a tenth faster than FIBA, who's on the medium. So that's an insane lap from FIBA. Expect everyone to be on the soft tyre for the final qualifying session. We've got our Tannis, Trend, Bankmate, Mick, T-Mac, Sandeezy, Andicat, and Combined YouTuber getting through. And all the drivers except for Crush outside the top 10 did their fastest time on the medium. So maybe that was a bit of a mistake there. They should have just gone straight into the softs if they were a bit worried about not making the cutoff, but maybe they were a bit overconfident, Seb.
Maybe just slightly, but I think they would have liked to have the opportunity to do the one stop. So I don't think they'll be too disappointed because it's played out how they expected. But we said before, the track position around here is pretty crucial with how hard it is to overtake.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you've got a pretty significant pace advantage over the car in front, it is extremely difficult to pass unless it's by the pits. There we go. Qualifying 3, 12-minute session. And the top 10 drivers here in Tier 1 be battling it out to decide the start grid of our race this evening. See both Alpines coming out of the garage first. T-Mac and Big Al. Both T-Mac and Big Al have been pretty consistent this season, both making it through to Q3 in nearly every race this season. So, great effort from those guys to consistently qualify as T-Mac crosses the white line on pit exit, and expect that to be challenged by Ferrari after the race.
Except that might actually, well, that could get a penalty if this were real life, because
He well and truly crossed the line. There's no question about that. T-Mac racing went straight on at the pit exit instead of following the line around the corner.
Although, in fairness, that pit exit in the game is extremely
It really
tight.
is, yeah. It's very difficult. to stay within the white line and not hit the wall on the inside, but that is sometimes the way it is in the video game world. Not quite one-to-one yet with a lot of these tracks in Formula 1, but getting there. Hopefully we get a few more laser scanned ones in the next game.
Can only pray.
Absolutely. So every driver out on track at the moment except for combined YouTuber, so the Ferrari master strategy at work. But yeah, shout out to Combined as well for making it through to Q3. So he's struggled a little bit this season with his qualifying. And yeah, he's done a really good job to make it into the top 10 this time around. Especially on pad at a not really pad track.
Yeah, done very well. Does help when some drivers qualify on meds, but he's there on merit. So we'll give him that.
Absolutely. All right, the Alpine's coming through the last couple of corners. We'll jump on board with T-Mac, who just about to start his first flying lap. And take it away, Seb.
So line yourself up on the right-hand side of the track, brake under the F1 2021 sign, take a lot of inside and outside curb. Just slowly ease your way through turn 3 and through turn 4. Get yourself over to the left to turn 5 and you brake at the start of that curb and throw the car in as well. Get as close to the outside wall without touching it and open that DRS. Now, one of the few points in this lap where you do get to relax, but you go through turn 6 into turn 7, braking past that break in the wall, turn in at that Singapore sign, go wide with T-Mac and get down to third gear for turn 8. Unwind the car and get it over to the right as you sling through turn 9 on the way to the Singapore sling for turn 10. What used to be a left, right, left is now just a singular left as you flow your way nicely through to turn 11 and then 12 the bridge. Very easy to see a crash. We saw a brilliant overtake from Master as T-Mac loses the rear end.
I think he's
drops
backed
it
out.
I think we'll go to Trent. Yep. We'll go to Trent, who's right behind him. On a lap, so go over that bridge. We saw this beautiful overtake from Massa on Bruno Senna back in 2012. We nearly lost it into that left-hand side wall of turn 13. Get that throttle down on the run down to turn 14. And you go through this little kink beforehand, braking past that F1 2021 sign on the right-hand side. Get that car over to the left and accelerate. Keep it tight to the left as well on the run down through 15, braking into 16. Right, as we've seen so many times, get that carb over that inside left-hand side curb, braking from that black box on the right hand side, throwing the cars through the multiple chicanes you have in this final sector. A lot of curve for 21 and 20, and then keep that car right because you're about to throw it in the double left-hander of 22, 23. DRS open for a couple of meters. That's a lap around Singapore, Gus.
Thank you very much, Seb, and thank you also to Wolfies and VR7 for the follows. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here at Aussie Formula Racing. As Mikau goes provisional pole with a 34.7. We're on board with the Ferrari of combined YouTuber at the moment. We pass Big Al there, who stays well out of the way of the Scarlet car on its flying lap. Now we've got Anacat and Fever back in the pit, so I wonder if they've invalidated their first runs on those soft tyres. So crucial here that Fever tries to get his way up to the pointy end of the grid. We've seen before, we call it out time and time again, and sometimes when he finds himself out of position, he can get caught up in a few incidents trying to work his way to the front of the grid with how quick he is. And hopefully he's able to get clear and get some decent track position. We want to see how quick he can go around this very tight and technical circuit. This combined YouTuber comes through the hairpin. And it's looking like a pretty tidy lap from the Ferrari driver, but T-Mac, we're on board when he abandoned that lap with 145.496. I think he might actually be behind combined YouTuber here, and he might actually have compromised his own lap by not backing off enough.
Oh, it certainly has. He's just invalidated Gus right behind combined, so it's just too close. He'll have to give it all in that final run, but also find a way to keep it clean.
Hopefully Combined's just got his eyes forward. He's not worried too much about the Alpine behind him, which has backed off a little bit, thankfully, through his last couple of corners. But he goes Combined through the last couple of corners, and he will set a 136.748. So a little bit off the pace at the moment, but he does have another 6 minutes to do another run before the end of the session.
Keep in mind, T-Mac gets to the lap, and OK gets to the lap. Fever might not even get a valid lap out, so he does have a lap time on the board, and it sometimes can be good enough if the guys behind you crumble.
Absolutely. So see all the drivers coming into the pits now that they've done their first runs. Should not be too long before they all start to come out for their final runs. Seb, so what are your predictions for this final couple of minutes of qualifying, Seb? You expecting FIBA to pull it out of the bag again and put it on pole, or is the pressure just going to be a little bit too much? He knows that if he can get a decent qualifying result, he can win this championship here tonight, but is the pressure just a little bit too much for him at the moment?
No, he's just got to be positive and keep it clean. He doesn't need to do too much with it. We see him come out on his outlap, but like I said, he just needs to keep it clean. If he finishes P5 this race, he's all good. Finishes P6, he's all good. Finishes P7, he's all good. So in the race, he doesn't need much. Just make sure he doesn't put himself in a position where he has a chance of throwing away a potential championship win tonight. But as for that, I think FIBA will be P1. It's coming down to, I think, Mikhail and Sandeezy for that P2 slot. And to be honest, Sandeezy hasn't put himself in too good of a position with his 35-0 there. I'd be slightly disappointed with that to start off his Q3.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's just got that much more pace than the rest of the grid. He doesn't even have to, put in 100% in this lap to make sure he's in a high enough position to get those points. But I don't know, seeing how FIBA's performed throughout the rest of the season, I just don't think he has any other setting apart from 100%.
Well, it is his season, and there's only been 2 races where it hasn't gone his way, and they've both been touch and go type of stuff. Other than that, he's always finished in the points, and he's won every race but France, where even that was touch and go for his standards. So it's looking like it will be his, but I could have just cursed him right there, Gus.
That's it, but we wouldn't mind that because it would mean the championship would go another couple more weeks. So, but no, let's hope for the best for FIBA. We want to see him put in the quickest times that he possibly can muster. And, it's not very often you get a driver who is as quick as FIBA is and consistently quick at every single track. We've said it before. We would not be surprised to see him go and try out for esports at some point because he's just that quick.
Yeah, exactly. And talking to him, he's been frustrated. End of F1 2020 game, he had that season with Mikhail, was frustrated he couldn't win that. And then last season just felt like everything went wrong for him, and finally it's all come together for him. In albeit a shortened season, but he's made it his.
Absolutely. Now, let's hide the leaderboard for a second. Let's just enjoy this lap here from FIBA. Amazing lap there from FIBA, 34.4.
You see how on it he was.
Absolutely. A couple of corners he kind of had, a couple of stabs at, but to still pull out a time like that, that's just amazing. Now we've got a yellow flag. Look like T-Mac possibly invalidated it under the grandstand. Yeah. Got enough fuel in the car to go again.
Oh, ERS though. That's going to be touch and go come into the lap. He'll be losing some power, Gus.
Absolutely. Now we've got Andercat on a lap as well. He's just in front of Trin, so I think Andercat might actually get the checkered flag. So FIBA's retired, so he thinks that he is safe there. He's got nothing more in the tank there with the 34.4. There'll be all eyes on Mikhail and Sandeezy, I think, next time around, but stay on board with Anacat for the moment. He still doesn't have a time on the board, but he's pretty close to getting one there. And T-Max crashed. T-Max crashed out. Looks like the Singapore sling.
Inside wall.
Anacat hits the wall as well. Singapore corner. Oh, he's run too wide, and he's had to get out of the throttle there. 35.9. Oh, as he just gets out of the way of Mikau there. Comes across on with a 34.752, but he's just starting a lap as well. So let's jump down to Sandeezy for the moment. I think he's the next car to get the checkered flag. So Tannis retires from the session, goes straight on. I think that's turn 5 or 6. And Sandeezy's invalidated, so that's it for him. Jump back to combined YouTubers. He drifts under the stadium there.
Big Al's on for a good one here. Could be P2.
Combined YouTuber comes around the final corner. And he goes up to P8. Big Al now 6/10 up on his time. Good enough for P3 with a 34.9. He lost a bit of time in the final sector there. Going to jump aboard with Baitmate. I think it's going to be the last car to cross the line unless Trin is on for another lap. But I think he's already done one of those tyres, so I think this should just be him coming into the pits. And Baitmate flicks it into the final corner. And he goes P2 with a 34.750. Beats his teammate by 0.02 of a second. That is a great lap from Baitmate.
AlphaTauri got to be happy with that. Psycho, where are you?
Absolutely. Psycho's got to be happy with that. 2-3 for AlphaTauri. Great result from them, but Viva, they're 3/10 clear of the rest of the field as Trin and Anacat are just coming in on their in laps. And that'll be your top 10. Thank you very much for the follow, Jetstar. How do you enter? So we've got a Discord link on our Twitch profile, and we also think we have it possibly on the website as well, that Stream Elements will be putting in the chat. And yeah, so you jump on the Discord and get in touch with Psycho. He's our recruit management, so he'll be able to help you out if you're looking to race with us on PC. Psycho in the chat, I'm making Vietnamese coffee for the boys after that one. Well deserved, I think. That's a solid result from the fellas down at AlphaTauri. Thank you very much for the follow, Lewis Welch.
So, interesting to note, I said this earlier on, but combined improved in his time 35.6. As I said, if the guys behind you crumble, then you can jump spots, and Anacat didn't. Well, he smashed into the wall the
Absolutely.
third lap corner, and T-Mac, well, he didn't even get his final run out.
Anacat as well, running very wide. I think maybe that contact with the wall damaged his wing a bit because he understeered like crazy through the final corner. Extended, got out of the throttle so he wouldn't gain an advantage. And yeah, combined YouTuber did exactly what he needed to do. He's picked up a couple of positions as a result. Well done to Fever. Great pole position there. And so close between the teammates, Baitmate and Mikau. Close as well between Big Al and Artanis, just 0.03 of a second there, and also just, well, it's at 26 thousandths of a second between Sandeezy and Trin there for P6. And then about half a second behind Trin is combined YouTuber, a few tenths behind him as well as Andocat, and T-Mac not setting a representative time. Unfortunately had a bit of an issue on his first lap and then invalidated his second lap, so unable to set a representative time. Jetstar, no, there is no entry fee to join Aussie Formula Racing, so we are a casual league, so we don't require any payment, but you may have to wait for a seat to become available.
Fever, Sandeezy on those meds. They've got options, Gus, as I've somehow loaded in as something other than a spectator. But as I was saying, those two will have very many options. They can do the two-stop med soft, or med soft med, or they could do the med hard. So have to wait and see how those two go.
Absolutely. It'd be interesting to see if anyone's brave enough to try the hard tyre. They don't have a lot of grip around here, but Could be advantageous for the people at the back, just as a bit of a Hail Mary strategy. Thank you for the follow, Kachow. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here. Got 30 seconds left as the drivers confirm their strategy and fuel load for the race.
I just want to point out how good this game is. I pressed spectate when I first joined the lobby. Obviously, game crashed, rejoined, and didn't give me the option to press spectate. But now I'm in a car, and I will be retiring straight away.
Wonderful. Love this game sometimes. We go looking at the tyre loadouts. FIBA and Sandeesi in the top 10 on the medium tyres, as they did qualify on that in Q2. Everyone else in the top 10 on the softs. Everyone outside the top 10 on the medium tyres, except for Captain of Gold, Simdogger, and Seb on the hard tyres. Although Seb,
I'm back in tier 1 where I'm supposed to be, Gus. I'll just race while I commentate. How about that, huh?
Oh, that sounds just wonderful. Maybe. Yeah, don't retire on track. Wait until there's a safety car or something. I don't know how we manage this one. That's a bit awkward.
I think it should be okay if I retire straight away.
If you're at the back of the pack and just retire, you should be okay, and that should keep your car out of the way of everyone else. So just pull off to the side and just wait the first few corners. I mean, it's Singapore tier 1. There's probably going to be a safety car in that one anyway.
just spectate me doing my warm-up lap. I'll walk you through it. Oh wow. What a game. My pedals aren't even working, so that's even good. My pedals aren't even working, so... That's amazing. Well, everything's gone wrong. The pedals aren't working, so we can't really do this, can we? But I'll stay in. I won't fiddle around with any controllers or anything like that. I'll just make sure I retire this car. What a start. What a start to Singapore. And in a night when we're supposed to have, Fever potentially winning the championship here, first drivers championship, I've come to steal the moment.
Absolutely, in true Seb fashion.
Yeah, true Seb fashion.
But that's okay.
It's alright.
Sam, so the game glitched out. It did not let Seb spectate when he rejoined after his game crash, so he will be retiring on the first lap. Alright, the driver's coming around the final corner. Hopefully, my co-commentator is able to catch the back of the train. Mickey Seb medieval car.
I reckon that's probably the right play here. I've kept it in the pause menu at the moment. Just waiting for the
Bloody hell, Seb had the own job.
I'm sorry. Next time I'll make sure my game doesn't crash.
A medical car and a safety car, so why not a commentary car?
I can, Gus, on top of this, I can hear some of the guys in the game chat, and they're saying I might get a podium here. So this is pretty big stuff.
All right, here we go. While my commentator manages to get himself out of the car that he's found himself in, we are formed up on the grid and we are ready to go. There we go. The lights are coming on. And we're away. Looks like a great start from Big Al there behind Mikau. He's jumped Mikau. Now Baitmates in P2. Seb is retired from the session already. And we have a few jostles for position there. Going to drop back through the field. Is that someone runs an Alpine around in a Ferrari? Looks like T-Mac and Combined YouTuber. That looked like the only tangle that we had on this opening lap as CJM goes for an audacious rig on the inside of the Haas there for Apollo Pepsi. Big tank slapper from him, and he's managed to... Okay, but Big Al had a monster start, gained 2 positions off the start. He's jumped both of the Alpha Tauris, with Baitmate dropping down to 4th behind Mikau.
Yeah, well done from Big Al, and unfortunate for Combined and T-Mac, both started in that top 10 and all of a sudden out of it.
Yep, absolutely. Feber as well is absolutely bolted. He's nearly a second clear of Big Al at the moment. Jumping further down, we've got Simdogger losing out to Combined YouTuber there, and also Bluey and CJM changing positions as well, going into the Singapore Sling.
See those Alpha Tauris, they will pose a problem. and ask a question of Big Al, and so will Feebu, who's just about broken that second gap, Gus.
Absolutely. We've got Anderka coming back at Crush, who went for a bit of a move at the hairpin. He's not quite been able to make the move stick. They're still going side by side. They're coming to the next sector, and Crush did have a bit of overlap there. I think he's managed to sneak through on Anderka there, and a lovely move from the Ferrari driver.
He's going to have to work to get back in the DRS of Eckham. I don't think that should be too much of an issue if he uses a bit of that ERS he does have available to him.
Absolutely, jumping up, and Batemate's coming to the pit, so I wonder if he's got some wing damage off the back of his teammate there. He's come straight into the pits at the end of lap 1. And I think CJM as well for the Mercedes is coming into the pits to get a new front nose. T-Mac as well, and Simdogger after the contact at turn 1.
Oh, hold on a second. This might be the master strategy from Psycho. Pitting lap 1. I'm pretty sure the softs are faster on the second lap though, Psycho. This could be a bit of iffy one, I reckon.
Absolutely. Batemate comes out of the pits in P15, but he's about 20 seconds off the back of the field, so he's got a lot of work to do on those mediums, especially to make them last the rest of the race. Now, Polypepsi's made a move, stick on Captain of Gold, who is on them hard tyres. Polypepsi nearly into the points there. Pretty decent start there for the Haas driver.
He's talking about that clean air, which you don't mind, but those soft tyres are faster for that second lap. And the third lap, it's a bit of a question mark. And the fourth lap, obviously, those medium tyres.
And Batemate also had a wing change, so he's already got about 8 seconds penalty, essentially, compared to the rest of the field. So he's going to have to try and make up that time in the clean air that he's got.
He was doing a decent job to hold on to Mick. I'm just surprised he pit so early. Now expect Mick to come in here. Expect Mick to come in.
So following Mick out at the moment.
He 100% is. He's used 35% of his ERS, and Big Al's coming as well.
Big Al's covering it off. Oh, this is interesting. Are we seeing a bit of a two-stop strategy here?
That is the play. If you're on those softs, you have to go two-stop. Those hards are just too slow.
Well, we got Artanis and Trin coming in at the end of the first lap as well. I don't think we've seen this before at the Singapore Grand Prix with drivers coming in at the end of the first lap and second lap to get rid of those soft tyres. And Big Al's onto the hards, Mick onto the mediums. So an interesting play there. Big Al does stay out in front of Mick, but here comes Batemate around the final corner. Is he going to get a jump on either of these drivers? It's going to be close, but I think that he will be behind his teammate and Big Al. Oh, he's actually jumped his teammate, and he's trying to go around the outside of Big Al there in turn 3. And I think he's got it. He's on the medium tyre, so he's got the traction around the outside, and he has jumped Big Al after that amazing start from the Alpine driver. And it looks like Batemate, who lost 2 positions off the start, is back in front of both of them.
Big Al and Jackson had to go on those hards. I think they used one of those sets of mediums in quali.
Absolutely. Batemate had to cover the inside there from Big Al, who had a decent run with the ERS and DRS, which has been enabled this lap.
This has worked beautifully in the hands of Alteri. That's why they didn't use their mediums in qualifying, Gus.
And in the chat, Psycho is very excited that that strategy worked.
Meanwhile,
yeah,
sorry, up the front, Feber has gapped Sandeezy. And you see Miko right there. Crucial stage of the race for Big Al, Gus, because he's got to get those hards firing. Otherwise he'll be in a world of hurt. Miko's so close to him.
So we see Andocap peel off into the pits to get rid of those softs, but unless he was able to put in some really quick laps, he's probably going to get overtaken here by Batemate as Apollo Pepsi also pits. Pepsi was on the medium tyres already? He was, so I think that's a bit of wing damage there for the Haas driver. Unfortunately, it's going to hurt him a little bit. Yeah, there goes through Batemate, Big Al, Mikau, Trin, and I think we're going to see Artanis go through as well. So Andocat drops to the back of that lead train, which has now worked its way back up to P8 and jumping up to Captain of Gold and Bluey going side by side. Oh, and a big tank sliper from Bluey who had a look. Oh, he's actually hit the back of the Alfa Romeo. And it's a bit of a bump and run move there. He's tried to get some overlap and he's got a good squeeze in return from the Alfa Romeo. I don't think we'd be too happy with that little love tap, and we're going to have to jump back because Mikau and Big Al having a little battle, and he's gone round! Mikau's into the wall! Mikau's into the wall! He got tagged by Big Al there, and he's got some big damage, and he's broken his wrist suspension, he's out!
Oh my goodness!
One of our championship contenders is out of the race! So that is it, Mikau cannot win the Drivers' Championship this season.
And in the most odd fashion as well. I've never seen someone going that slow break their rear wheel on that wall.
So it looked like Mikau had gone for a big lunge on Big Al. Now, I've got the replay of that one. Bear with me 2 seconds while I bring that one up. And so we just cut across. I saw the leaderboard change. We were on board with Captain of Gold and Bluey. And I changed to Mikau, who had gone for a big lunge. And they just overlapped. It looked like Mikau tried to move across the cover and he lost his end plate, did a flick turn. And it was just the impact of the rear right tyre into the Pirelli wall there. It broke his rear suspension, and that is him out of the race.
He was. I could imagine he was somewhat panicking to get out of the way of Andocat coming through on the track. But my Big Al has damage on
he's got
his
wing
front
damage,
right
so
wing.
he's come into the pits to get off those hard tyres. And that is a shame for those two because they both needed really good results here to have any chance of taking FIBA to the end of the championship. But yeah, it just looks like it's all going FIBA's way.
Yeah, FIBA's sitting pretty. Meanwhile, what happened? Bluey got by Captain and Gold, but just when I saw the instant, Gus, on the replay, it just looked like two cars converging each other. I don't see much of a penalty, although we'll probably get POVs from both drivers, I'd assume, after the race.
Yeah, it did look like Mikau had gone very deep, and Big Al had the run on him coming out of the corner, and like you said, I think they just got stuck together a bit, and that speared Mikau across the front of the Alpine. But I don't know, yeah, kind of from that angle it looked like a bit of a racing incident, but we don't really know until we get those onboard footage perspectives sometime tomorrow or Tuesday.
Well, you make your own luck, and FIBA has made so much luck this season. He's on for his 8th win from 11 races. Just trundling along at the front at the moment. He'll be getting updates, I'd assume, as well, being in the same voice chat as Big Al and T-Mac, Trin and Andocat.
Speaking of T-Mac, he's gone for a big move on Apollo Pepsi at the end of the DRS straight, and he's up into 13th place. Pepsi on those fresh hard tyres, going to be lacking a bit of performance and grip at the moment after getting that nose change. Start of the last lap.
Yeah, hards will go a long time. The tyres generally will, they're okay in terms of wear. It's just once they hit around 35-40% wear, they start sliding, then those temperatures start to rise and a lot harder to manage, and all the pace suddenly starts to go. So Pepsi can make those hards last to the end of the race, no safety car, but it will be struggling in those final 5 laps, I'd assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Anakat's got a bit of a run on Tannis here for the final points paying position. Not able to get it done this lap, so Tannis on the hard tyre, Anakat on the mediums. Should have the grip advantage here over the Williams, but Mercedes just struggling a little bit to get close enough by the end of the straight to make a move under braking.
You'll have to work for this, Andocat. Jackson's pretty good under right foot. Andocat's not necessarily his specialty, although he's done a pretty good job there.
Here we go, goes for a move down the inside. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Williams. And Andocat gets the job done, but it's a little bit scrappy, the move there. It looked like Artanas tried to turn in and shut the door on the Mercedes, but he was far enough alongside, and he's into the points.
Closest battle on track right now is between Ekim and Crush, followed by Captain Gold and Bluey. I just feel like Captain Gold hanging on to Bluey, and DRS is being a big assistance to the Alfa Romeo's race.
Absolutely. So he's using the DRS from Bluey here to just keep him not not keeping Baitmate at the same gap, but definitely not letting Baitmate close in on him too quickly. And this is actually probably good for Baitmate's race as well, because he doesn't want to catch Captain of Gold, because if he's got any chance of getting an undercut on FIBA, who's not yet pit, then he doesn't want to catch the back of the Alfa Romeo until he comes into the pits as well. So keep an eye on this. So Baitmate's in clean air at the moment. I just don't think that Baitmate's going to have the raw pace of FIBA at the moment, who's also in clean air.
Exactly. Completely agree. Crush, meanwhile. Him and Ekim are both from Tier 3 last season. Both showing their pace in Tier 1, showing they can do it. And this is a good show right now. They have been bumped up, you know, a couple positions, 3 positions, due to a couple incidents up ahead. But these two are very much on for a podium here.
Yeah, possibly. I think we've got Trent within a couple of seconds of Baitmate there. So Baitmate, we expect, should finish around about P2 once everyone's done their mandatory pit stop. But yeah, it's going to be whether or not Trin is able to fill that 3rd spot, or if, like you said, Crush or Ekim here is able to put in the quick laps they need. They are about 6 seconds behind Sandeezy, though, who is going to be the driver to watch. He's actually maintaining that gap between himself and FIBA. It was about 3 seconds.
Yeah, Sandeezy driving very well at the moment. It's been flooding between 2.7 to 3.3 over the past 3 or so laps. But keep in mind, pit stop worth about 25, 26 seconds in total, that including the pit entry and exit. And you got to factor in that those medium runners who have already pitted, well, they're going to have to pit again. So they need to get a move on with it.
Absolutely. Now, Simtoga went for a move on Apollo Pepsi there, but went too deep into the corner, and Apollo Pepsi with a very nice switchback, able to maintain that position of P14. So nice little battle between these two for P14 and P15. It'd be nice to cut back to these guys a few times throughout the race and provide us with a bit of entertainment, which, yeah, Singapore, for a track that's not that easy to overtake, is offering us a bit of racing action, which we love to see.
Well, early pit stops and some instances have kind of spread this field apart. Normally when it's a lot harder to overtake when you have those DRS trains forming around here. But they're hard to maintain because, you know, different strategies, very easy to have accidents. I mean, that's why we see about a minute spread over this, what is now a 17-man field.
Absolutely. Now, just following Combined YouTuber at the moment, who's quite close behind Artanis, who's also closing in on Andocat there for P10. They did have a little battle before, but this could be turning into a 3-way battle for the final point position. And just keep an eye on the other gaps as well. Simdog staying with Apollo Pepsi and Crush within DRS range of Ekim. So keep an eye on those gaps at the moment. Just going to run through the winners and losers at the moment. So FIBA, of course, starting on pole, continues to lead this race by just under 3 seconds. Looks like Sandeezy's closing that gap now. Sandeezy up 4 places, Ekim up 8, Crush up 11, Pondon up 9, Bluey up 12, and Captain Gold up 6. Now, Baitmate, who had that early pit stop, is down 6 positions, but we do expect him to make some gains once everyone in front of him pits. You see the Ferrari there lose the rear a little bit, but manages to collect it. We've then got Trent down a couple of positions, Ando down 1, Artanis down 6, and Combined down 4, Tumac down 3, but Apollo Pepsi's gained 3 since the start, so even with that wing change, as we say that, there's been another move, and Simdog has got past Pepsi. I was wondering if Pepsi might have picked up some damage there, second nose that he's gone through. And then we've got CJM down 4 and Big Al down 13 places after that crash involving Mikau, which saw him retire, which is very unfortunate for him.
Worth noting how well Sandeezy's driving right now, on level with FIBA, matching his times. On top of that, if he were to pit, he'd come out in front of all those medium runners, or with them, come out with Baitmate, and come out in front of all those other medium runners.
That's a good point. Let's explore that for a second. How long is pit stops? 25
around
seconds?
25, 26 seconds. When I did it, it was around 25 seconds.
So this is touch and go here. So 25 seconds. So Sandeezy is 3 seconds behind FIBA. Baitmate is 28 seconds off FIBA. So that is exactly 25 seconds between Sandeezy and Baitmate. So they will be battling when Sandeezy comes out of the pits. So we will see an all-out fight for the 2nd and 3rd place on this podium.
worth noting though, Sandeezy will come out on those hards, so that first lap, be a bit cautious. You'd have to think in order to not
Well, I
spin
guess
at
it
all.
depends. Is Sandeezy able to go until the soft tyre?
No, I don't think so. It's not worth going on those soft tyres more than about 5 laps.
Oh, fair enough. But his T-Mac picks up a 3-second penalty. We're also, assuming that there's not going to be any safety car intervention, and we saw 2 in the Tier 3 race earlier this evening, so that can throw a spanner in the works as well, but that could play into Sandeezy's strategy perfectly, because you can just chuck on the hards to the end of the race from here, and I don't know, what would you do if you're in Bates' position and a safety car comes out now?
Oh, you have to pit again onto meds. All hards, you can't.
He would lose so much track position though, because if he's got a pit in P8, he's then got to work through everyone in front of him who's either going to be on the hards or the medium. So, such a difficult decision to make.
It would be the exact same for Trinando, Cat, Jackson combined. T-Mac, Simdogger, Pepsi, CJM, and Big Al behind. So, well, maybe not, Jackson, Pepsi, and CJM, but all those other medium runners behind him will have to make that difficult decision, and chances are safety car comes out now. The all Peters combined YouTuber. Gee, he was eyeing that move for a long time, Gus, and one mistake, it's all gone.
Absolutely, he just overdrove the car a little bit there through sector 3. Just taking a little bit too much speed over a little bit too much curb, and it's caused him to lose the rear, and he's now going to have some hot tyres. We've got a Haas of Apollo Pepsi blocking the track. Oh, as Alpine Big Al does well to avoid him, and Pepsi did the right thing there. He just stayed completely stationary and let Big Al avoid him rather than trying to be unpredictable and move out of the way. But he has broken his end plate again, so he'll be coming into the pits to get that new wing.
Yeah, worth noting a comment from Ali. He has said that our shoulders are quite sore from carrying Alpine in combined construction. I'll say that was one of the reasons I was lying on the floor earlier, because my shoulders were so sore.
That's right.
You said T-Mac
massage after the race.
yeah, exactly. It's really hurting right now.
So at the moment, the grid is quite spread at the moment. Crush within DRS range of Ekim is the only car within a second of another one. So in a bit of a lull period at the moment, but we're expecting those top 7 cars to pit any second now. We see Sandeezy come in as I say that. So this is the moment we were talking about a few laps ago. Is Sandeezy going to come out of the pits ahead of Batemate?
It's going to be so tight.
We've said 25 seconds is how much time you lose in the pit lane. And great stop from Alfa Romeo there. Sandeezy travels the end of the pit lane. Batemate on the pit straight now. You see there's the Alfa Romeo coming out of the pits. I think Batemate's got him here. They're side by side on the exit. And I think Batemate's got him. So Sandeezy just a bit too... just not quite far enough away to get the overcut done. But look at that, he's in front of Trin, so he is effectively P3 at the moment once everyone in front has pit. So that's a mega drive from Sandeezy there on the medium tyres.
Absolutely brilliant from Sandeezy at the moment. I'd say about 7 or so laps he'll be overtaking his teammate, or his teammate will be pitting onto a set of meds.
Absolutely. Now we've got Crush and Ekim still battling at the moment in P2 and P3. Just going to keep an eye on Sandeezy as well. Do you reckon those fresh hards are going to be quicker than the slightly older mediums of Batemate at the moment?
Oh, I'd say in about 3 laps, yes.
And there we go.
Definitely
so
in about 3 laps.
Might see them battling it out for net P2. We should see some of these other medium runners coming to the pits shortly. Now, you're expecting those drivers who pit on lap 1 and lap 2, they're going to have to pit again, aren't they?
Yes, especially if they went into the mediums. Those hard tyres are a big question, as whether they can maintain the pace, but expect those medium runners to pit in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Ekim and Crush come into the pits. Now, here's another question mark. Is Batemate and Sandeezy going to be close to getting an overtake on Feber here? Batemate comes around the final corner now. And where's Fever? No, he's just feeding out onto the racing line now, so still had way too much pace there. He's got Captain of Gold, though, just behind him. And almost
this could pose a problem.
Well, fresh hard tyres. Maybe he's Captain of Gold just help out Sandeezy here, try and get the pass done with DRS. Fever
Oh,
have nothing to defend with. He's used up all of his ERS as well to make sure that he didn't get undercut there. He's gone very defensive. The Alfa Romeo trying to go around the outside, and a little bit of contact gets pushed up over the curb, but I think Captain of Gold's got the move done. He's got the inside for the next corner. And Feber's nearly ended up in the wall there. They're still side by side, and the lack of grip from Captain of Gold, I think he's going to have to yield here. I think the tyres have just started to come towards Feber, but look at that gap now to Batemate. It's now within a second, so he has got DRS to Captain of Gold, who has DRS to Feber. So this has hurt Feber a little bit, but I think once those tyres come up to temperature, he should be able to pull away again.
I was going to say Feber needs to think about the championship here, but Big Al's all the way down in 16, plays a whole 32 seconds off of Feber, so Big Al has to win the race if he wants to keep in the championship. As you mentioned before, Big Al or Mikau had to win every race from Singapore to Belgium. It had to be only them that won if they want a chance to beat Feber. And well, Mikau's out, and Big Al's out of the points by a whole 20 odd seconds. So looking unlikely. Feber's just going to bring this home.
Yeah, Sandeezy very close behind Batemate as well, so those tyres started to come up to temperature, and I think Batemate's going to want to clear his teammate. He's in an Alfa Romeo sandwich here, and it's going to be hurting him. He wants to try and get a shot at Feber to get this race win, but he's looking in the rearview mirror at the moment.
Well, what can Bate do here? I don't see many options. He's in a race with Captain of Gold right now. I think that's what he needs to understand. Sandeezy is not the target. I just think it'd be a bit too hard to reel in over 2 seconds a lap when he pits in the next 2 or so laps. So here we go.
Oh, and Alfa Romeo getting out of the way. As Batemate goes for a big dive. It actually forces Captain of Gold off the track there. And he has let Captain of Gold take the spot back, but he's gone deep. He's gone deep. He's outbraked himself, has Captain of Gold, and that's allowed Sandeezy and Batemate to go through. And it's very unfortunate there for Captain of Gold, who's dropped off about 4 seconds, and now he's right back with Trin at the moment, P6 and P7.
You say unfortunate, I say very poor. He didn't need to do that at all. One, he blocked his teammate from having a potential overtake on Bay, and then two, cost himself a chance at easy top 4 or 5 finish. He's going to have to work hard for this now if he wants some decent points.
Absolutely, but he goes Sandeezy down the inside of Batemate at the end of the DRS straight, and he's got that move done, and Batemate doesn't really fight that hard. As you said, I think he knows that this isn't his race at the moment.
You see Pondon and Bluey still yet to pit. 5 seconds up the road from Feber. But well, they'll be hoping for a safety car at this point, because
yeah, I think that's the strategy. That's the strategy they're going for the moment, and both of them doing very well, up 13 and 16 places respectively. Yeah. And they will be hoping for a safety car so that they can gain some track position, which is so hard to gain under green flag conditions. Just
want to point out right now, Ekim and Crush, who have been tied to each other all race, have just come up onto Endocat now. We could see those two actually swap positions, with the added factor of Endocat posing an issue for Ekim if he's unable to overtake him easily.
Absolutely, we got a yellow flag. We got T-Mac has spun in the final corner over the pit entry, and he is drifting into the pits. And as we see, Stewart making an appearance after we saw him. I think T-Mac's actually been teleported back onto the pit straight.
He has.
And T-Mac
came into
well
the
there.
pit backward.
He did, and then teleport him back onto the straight, so he's going to have to do a whole lap with no end plate. But shout out to Stewart, who we haven't seen since the pre-season race we had here.
All the way back last year.
Last year, yeah, it was July last year, so yeah. Smitty, it's the same Steward. It was indeed. We see Trin having a bit of a look at Captain of Gold here. Doesn't want to get held up too much from the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Trin's kept out of trouble here, or trouble hasn't found him, I should say. Probably one of the most unluckiest drivers on the grid in the past season and a bit. Now that I've said that, trouble will find him.
That's it, you've cursed him now.
Yeah, he's gonna absolutely obliterate me when we chat tomorrow.
Well, Pondon and Bluey into the pits, so that releases Feber, Sandeezy, and Batemate. Possibly Captain Gold as well after that little spin slightly earlier.
Not the only one. You see how well the one-stop has worked for Pondon and Bluey. With those medium guys who have to pit again, well, they'll be coming out in front of them maintaining track position. A safety car has almost played to their advantage here.
Absolutely. Now they're feeding up Ponton in P9, Bluey P10. There's Simdogger coming down the pit straight on those medium tyres, 13 laps old. He's have a bit of a look at Bluey, but I don't think he's got the tyre grip to be able to get past. Now Crush has made it past Endocat. Again, Eckham's cleared him as well. So they're up into P5 and P6, so great work from them. Captain of Gold still sitting in P4 in his 15 lap old hards.
Another driver who'd be wanting a safety car now. Definitely wants a safety car. How much that would boost his position in this race. Same with Batemate, but Batemate in a much better position than Captain of Gold, I would say. 6 seconds up the road.
So T-Max finally made it back to the pits after that teleporting incident, and down in that lowly 17th. CGM closing in on the back of Big Al now. He's down in P12. There's the Alpine driver. So further up as Endocat comes into the pits off those 11 lap old mediums. And he's onto another set of medium tyres. So I think he's the first of the 2 stoppers to come in for that second stop. And we see Simdogger and Big Al coming in as well.
Would have been interesting to see what Mikau could have been able to do with Batemate and Sandeezy in this race if he weren't to have clashed with Big Al, and same for Big Al as well.
Absolutely. Now we see Endocat's coming out into P12 just behind Trin. Oh, so just behind, about 8 seconds behind Trin, who's closing in on the back of his teammate TJM. So we're still expecting a number of pit stops to go. Batemate, Captain of Gold, Artanis, and CJM yet to pit. It's looking very good for Eckham and Crush, I must say. They're looking like they're going to end up 3rd and 4th at this rate.
Yeah, got to keep in mind that I think it's very doable for Bate to do 15 seconds and 15 laps if he were to pit now, depending on whether he has another set of fresh mediums available to him, which I think he does, and I think Psycho can confirm for us.
I think he's got a pit soon. Now, if we have a look at the, as we see Trin going down the inside of CJM there, good move there from the Haas driver. Now, if we have a look, there we go, Batemate into the pits. Now, he's going to come out about P10, so Trin is the driver to watch here, so he might get an undercut on Batemate, which is pitting to cover off at the moment. Now, that was pivotal for Trin to get past CJM there. He did not want to get stuck behind him through Sector 3. And let's see how this plays out. Trin coming through the last corner now. And this is going to be close, Seb.
I think Bate might have him just covered off just
You can see him coming out of the pit. So yeah, Trin a little bit too far back. But he's going to be on warm, medium tyres. And it's going to take Bate a little bit to get them back into the window.
Yeah, he's just out of DRS as well. Pushing hard. You see through turn 3, just went a bit wide. Might have picked up a warning there. I hope he hasn't, because it's a very soft spot to lose a warning.
Yeah, looks like he's just missed out on getting the DRS there, as he said. But he has cleared CGM though, so it looks like Batemate and Trin going to be pushing pretty hard. Try and get back close up to that podium. But they do have to clear Pondon and Bluey, who are a few seconds down the road.
Jackson quietly on those hard tyres, which are 14 laps old. We'll have to keep an eye on him. He's 7 seconds in front of his teammate, but I'd assume that come about 9 or so laps, he'll start to fade a bit.
Yeah, do you think he's going to the end on those hards?
I'd think so. I think so. And we'll have to see how Captain of Gold kind of fits into this equation as well. He's still yet to pit, and I believe he'd funnel out around about where CJM is.
And Captain of Gold, so Eckham and Crush move up to 3rd and 4th.
got some work to do. He's pitted fairly late onto these meds. I think just trying to find his way with a safety car, but I just don't think trying to play for a safety car is the right thing to do. If a safety car comes out after you pit, that's just unlucky.
Yeah,
Just move
absolutely.
on.
Thank you very much for the follow, Dr. Scruffy. Hope you're enjoying our coverage here in Aussie Formula Racing.
Oh my goodness. Have you seen what Psycho said in chat?
Can I just go back to when Seb said trouble will find trim? We listened and we put bait right in front of him for you. So those two have had a couple of comings together this season, and hopefully they're able to go clean to the end of the race from here.
Well, lucky enough, Beta's shown pace that he's dropped Trin by about a second over the past lap and a half, so I think there won't be much trouble between these two unless the safety car comes out.
Which of mine? It is Singapore. Still 12 laps to go. Anything can happen.
And worth noting, Ekim and Crush. Ekim had broken that DRS range to Crush, but Crush, well, he loves Ekim and loves staring at his rear wing, so thought he would just close up and get within DRS range again to stay tight at the hip with him. Baymate's caught up the Bluey as well here, Gus. Kapnagold as well in the back of CJM with 16 lap old hards.
Yeah, you see how much more group bait has out of the final corner. He's going to want to try and get this move done before the end of Sector 1. Here he goes. Doesn't look like the Red Bull's putting up much of a fight there. And Baitmate breezes past. And up into P7. So Captain Gold does get past CJM as well, the same corner. And he's up into P10 and gets himself a point. Crush and Ekim still battling it out for the final podium position. Artanis is well and truly dropped off the back of them, so we think he's going the one-stop strategy there, so he's just trying to save those tyres, getting as far into the race as he possibly can. But he does have Baitmate already within DRS range of Pondon, so he is on an absolute charge at the moment.
Almost be wise upon him to let him by on that main straight, and get DRS back on him, but I don't see why upon him will want to slow down mid-straight. We'll get breezed by here.
Absolutely. And here goes Baitmate. He's got the DRS on the Williams. Goes to the inside, and Pondon not really interested in defending that at all. Baitmate goes up to P6 now, and the next car is about 6 seconds away, but it is Artanis on those extremely old hard tyres, so Baitmate should be able to close him down as we see Anakin and CJM swap positions and combine YouTuber. Wants a piece of this action, goes for a big lunge on the inside of the Mercedes, and up into P12. That's a very, very advantageous move by the Ferrari. And he's gone. And look at that, FIBA picked up a 3-second penalty, and Sandesi also picked up a 3-second penalty. I was just about to say, this could give Sandesi a bit of a whiff for the race win here, but unfortunately that 3-second penalty he just picked up means that that's now gone out the window.
A safety car wouldn't do those two any
good for the race win.
Imagine. Could you imagine? I mean, Crush has just been holding on to Ekim as well, so Don't count him out. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
Bluey has closed in on Pondon.
Absolutely, yeah, he's almost within DRS. In fact, he is now. Has he got it open? He does, so he crossed that detection point within a second. We got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Not sure what that was for.
Alpine.
Hopefully,
T-Mac, I believe.
T-Mac, yes, he's been collecting 3-second penalties at the back of the grid. He's up to 9 seconds at the moment. Yeah, only driver to have multiple time penalties so far in this Tier 1 race. Another yellow flag. We've got Apollo Pepsi has gone into the wall again. He's lost his end plate. He's down in P16 at the moment, so he might be, after this next pit stop, giving T-Mac some company there at the back. It's Combined so close to the back of Anocat here for P11. Combined showing a bit of pace here. He's qualified in Q3. Obviously his strategy's not quite worked out for him and he's ended up outside of the points, but he's showing quite a bit of competitivity against the rest of the drivers, so having a very good weekend here at Singapore as Pepsi sped into the pit lane and picks up a 5-second penalty.
Insult to injury, that.
Absolutely, definitely salt in the wounds there for the Haas driver.
Yeah, he was always in a bad spot Combined when, to be honest, he overachieved in qualifying. And then had to start on the softs, which was, you don't necessarily have the pace. It's probably not a great strategy to be on the soft med compared to Pond and Bluey, who have made that strategy work beautifully. All the way up, P7 and P8. Eckham as well. I believe he qualified outside the 10, and has found his way up into P3. Crush as well, up into P4. So that med hard strat showing wonders here.
So watching Big Al at the moment, close in on the back of Simdogger. Unfortunate to see Big Al so far down the order after that contact and damage with Mikau, and he should be able to get through. He's just going to jump up actually, because Combined YouTuber and Undercat going wheel to wheel through the second sector. A Ferrari out on the dirty stuff. He's gone for a switchback on the Mercedes. He's got a little bit of energy. He's got hardly anything left. He's going to go for a move before the Singapore Sling. It's a very risky move, but decides to pull back into the slipstream of the Mercedes. Just didn't quite have enough energy in the battery to go for a move there Combined, but he'll have DRS assistance this time around. And straight out of the hairpin. He's got to be careful not to use too much of his DRS with the yellow flag as an Aston Martin. I think Simdog has gone around further behind, but Combined YouTuber not able to get the move done there as Sim does a flick turn at the Singapore Sling and get his car pointed the right way again.
They're going to be having a hefty battle for P7 soon. Bluey's cut up the Pondon, Trin's slowly catching those two, and Captain Gold's right up on the rear wing of Trin.
So T-Mac has retired, is on the pit straight. Is that a safety car? It is a safety car, and here we go!
Oh my goodness!
T-Mac has absolutely binted out of the final corner. Now, where have we seen a Renault deliberately crash before and bring out a safety car to help their teammate who might add the advantage down to the order for the safety car?
Oh, I'm not sure about this.
So Combined, Ando, Cat, CJM and Big Al all coming into the pits. Look at that, very advantageous for Big Al there, that retirement. So we're seeing Fever there coming out of the hairpin, so those guys won't be lapped, so they'll be all good to go. But how does this affect... Look at Atanas, this helps him out massively in P5 there. He's got Bankmate right behind him. What do you reckon? 7 laps? He can go soft to the end from here, surely?
Oh, I'd almost go mediums, to be honest with you. I just don't trust those softs to not overheat on me.
Safety car though, so they wouldn't get, absolutely shredded for a little while.
You're not wrong. The issue is do they have a fresh set of softs? If they do, use them. If they don't, well then you need to go on those meds.
Absolutely. Now this does hurt Feber and Sandeezy as well with those 3-second penalties, so maybe Eckham is on for a potential win here in Tier 1. What is he going to do? So he's got a little bit of a train here behind him. Let's Crush immediately behind him. I think that's a lapped Haas of Apollo Pepsi just behind him. See Sandeezy coming to the pits as well. Expect him to chuck on the soft tyre. He's on the medium, so Fever's onto the softs and Sandeezy onto the medium. So like he said, maybe he thinks the mediums are a better choice to go to the end from here, as Eckham and Crush both pit. Tannis as well. Baitmate comes in too. And Ponton as well.
Everyone.
Bluey.
Yeah, everyone.
Trin. Captain of Gold. And we've got Andocat as already pit, so he's 33 seconds back. I wonder if he's probably too far back to get any gains here on pitting earlier.
I'm about to find out if this works for Sandeezy in those dying stages of the race.
Absolutely, and keep an eye on Eckham there. He's going to be on soft tyres. And if he could just stay within 3 seconds of Fever and Sandeezy, could be getting his first win in Tier 1.
Well, everyone on softs.
Absolutely everyone except for Sandeezy on the soft. So either this is a master strategy from Sandeezy, or he might be regretting his decision in a few laps' time.
Yeah, they all had those fresh sets available to them. So obviously went for it, and why wouldn't you? They will easily last. The wear won't be an issue. The wear won't create added temperature when they do hit over 35%, because I don't think they will. Sandeezy in an interesting spot here. He'll have to get those tyres fired up under the safety car and maintain position and hope that those softs do die on those last 2 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the field is quite spread, so I'd expect this to have at least 2 or 3 laps under the safety car. We've got
Pepsi.
So I think as Pepsi's unlapped himself.
He's got to go all the way around.
That's great for Pepsi though. So good that he's been able to unlap himself out of that. He does come to the pits to get another set of tyres, but instead he stayed out and he was able to get in front of Fever.
Well, who's just helping here? Well, it's obviously helping the soft runners. It's only helping the soft runners. This is being a detriment to Sandeezy.
He's serving a 5-second penalty as well in the pits, so that's good for Pepsi post-race as well.
He needs to hope he can actually get in front of the safety car, which he will. He left the pits well before it, but catching up is going to be a bit of a task, but safety car does go quite slow around Singapore.
Certainly does, and look at Pepsi, a couple of corners ahead of the safety car there, so he's timed that stop perfectly, but he's got a lot of pushing to do to catch the back of the train, which is Simdogger, who's gone under the pavilion now in Sector 3.
An interesting tactic from Eckham. Just revving out his car, getting a bit of temperature into the engine, and on top of that, well, draining or not gaining as much fuel. So, I'm not sure how much this will help him, because Fever and Sandeezy have been so fast, but might give him a P2 here if Sandeezy can't get those tyres to fire up. The issue for Sandeezy is he'll be adding wear as he tries and keep those medium tyres at a core of over 80 degrees Celsius come when the safety car comes in. Ideally he needs them around 90 degrees Gus, because well, those softs will fire up very quickly and he'll be in a bit of danger in the first lap and a half.
Absolutely. So yeah, Smitty, everyone on the soft tyre except for Sandeezy, who's on the medium. Pepsi crosses the start-finish line now, as most of the drivers are coming through the hairpin now, so I don't think he's going to catch this train before the end of this lap. And I don't know, what's that?
Yeah, he's on softs as well, so by the time he does catch up, let's say he catches up when the safety car does come in, his tyres are going to be absolutely cooked.
They're definitely going to be in the window, that's for sure.
Oh, well.
So I think it looks like the safety car is going to stay out for one more lap to give Pepsi a chance to catch up.
So, what, 4 laps of green flag racing, 2 laps of DRS? Yep.
Yeah,
28, 29,
right.
30, 31. Yeah. That will be it. Gus, just go on board with Sandeezy for a little bit. See what all the measures he's doing to keep those tyres at a decent temp.
So he doesn't do a Grosjean and bin it in the wall under the safety car with how aggressively he's weaving.
Who would he blame, Ericsson?
Ekimson.
Ekimson, right. Well, he couldn't blame Captain Gold, he's his teammate, so...
Absolutely. Pepsi now just 20 seconds behind the back of the train, so he should catch it before the end of this lap, so we should be back to green flag racing in just a moment.
He might actually want to start slowing down a bit, Pepsi, unless he's just spun. Has he just spun?
He's lost his wing. Pepsi has lost his wing as well. He's pushed too hard to catch the safety car train, and he has lost his front wing. Oh dear, Pepsi. Safety car's there. Burnt Mylan has gone, nah, I'm not waiting anymore. And he's coming in at the end of this lap.
That's his race well and truly over. Oh my goodness.
Pepsi.
There we go.
Safety car is in this lap, so Fever has control of the train. And we will have 4 laps running to the end of this race. So, as Seb pointed out before, 2 laps no DRS, 2 laps with DRS. And Sandeezy there, the only driver on the track at the moment on the medium tyre, everyone else on the soft. So, he will be defending like a lion and trying to get close to Fever as well. Keep the pressure on. And safety car pulls into the pit lane. Fever has control of the grid. And he's gone. There he goes. ERS is open. And Sandeezy has picked up another 3-second penalty.
Wow. I just want to say Fever's throttle did blip out, so he's lucky he didn't go any bit
earlier.
earlier.
Had a shocking restart as well. He's under a lot of pressure from Artanis here. He's in P6. They're side by side. A bit of contact as well. The Williams of Pondon goes off the track there and gains the position. They've got a yellow flag, so Mercedes of CJM is around at the back, and Bateman has lost a lot of ground in the start of this restart.
And Pondon might have wing damage. Bateman's all over him. I don't think he'll get that move done. He's just struggling a lot, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe his tyre's just down in the window. Just here, oh, a bit of contact there between Trin and Bluey. That hasn't chipped his front wing.
Fever's going to run away with this. He's already broken that, or just about broken that 3-second window. He actually has. So Sandeezy's the one in question here. 7 tenths to Ekim, 6-second time penalty. He'd be dropping all the way down out of the points at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was Captain of Gold. Had a pretty decent run on Trin as well there. Not quite getting close enough before the end of the DRS straight. Fever's setting a 36.1 on that safety car restart, so he is the quickest driver on track at the moment.
Ekim crush. I believe this will be their first podiums in Tier 1 AFR.
Absolutely, just watching Big Al now. He's got a good run on Combined YouTuber. No DRS yet, but he should get the move done. And he does run the outside. I think there was a bit of contact there between Simdogger and Combined YouTuber. And yes, the Esteban has broken his front wing.
It seemed like decent because Combined YouTuber didn't shoot to the right like I thought he would have. I was looking at Simdogger's onboard and, well, Combined just squeezed him right up against the wall, so that had to be decent.
As SCJM gets the move done on Simdoggo, who's missing that end plate, so he'll be struggling for the rest of this race. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the pits though. Having a look at Ekim there, who's just outside the 3-second window of FIBA, so I think FIBA will still get the race win here if this gap maintains the same distance. 2.5 laps to go. Ekim holding on to this position. As DRS is enabled as FIBA crosses the line to start the second last lap of the race.
Just imagine if Sandeezy didn't have an extra 3-second time penalty, because he's somewhat keeping track of FIBA at the moment on those medium tyres. He's slightly gaining on him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, you've got to keep it clean. Oh, Simdoggo is out. He is retired in the pits, so he is done. And Ekim under so much pressure here from Crush, who desperately wants to get that second place on the podium.
Yeah, decent points on offer as well for Pondit and Bait. Going to battle that out for P6. Share of 8 points.
Oh, and he has a big tank slapper there, Ekim. Oh, he's lost so much time to Crush there, and Atanas right on the back of them as well.
Oh, Sandeezy's closed in. Those softs is gone. Those softs is absolutely gone. Just imagine Sandeezy.
Closing in on the back of FIBA, who's used up all of his ERS as well as he starts the final lap of the race. And Sandeezy's within DRS. And look at that, the gap is now 3.9 seconds to Ekim. Sandeezy would have to overtake FIBA and then pull out a 3-second lead to get the win here.
Unlikely.
Very unlikely, but here goes Crush on the back of Ekim. Ferrari driver's got DRS. The Aston Martin tries to block in the middle. The Ferrari thinks about going down the inside, but Ekim's run deep. Ekim's run deep. And it's the Ferrari going to get the moves. And there's contacts with Artanis. Goes right up the bum, and I think that's the Ferrari in the wall slightly. And the gap just 3/10 between FIBA and Sandeezy at the front.
Oh, it's amazing. Just like I said, imagine if Sandeezy didn't have that 3-second time penalty. But back to Ekim and Crush. Ekim might have to give that position up, to be honest, Gus, because although Crush wasn't alongside, he did go off track.
He had to
well and
extend the track to maintain position. And here we go. Here goes Sandeezy. He's having a look on FIBA, but he doesn't go for the lunge. And look at this gap. It's 5 seconds back to Ekim. Sandeezy. Oh, he's got that extra 3-second penalty. Oh, if only, Seb.
One more lap, and if he didn't pick it up, he was all the chance in the world, wasn't he?
Absolutely. There we go. FIBA will come around the final corner. And with this win, he takes out the Tier 1 Drivers' Championship for Season 8 of Aussie Formula Racing Tier 1. Well done to FIBA. Well deserved.
Congratulations. He said it earlier on, he deserved it. And he finally got it. 2 seasons of pain and 1 season of glory. Meanwhile, Sandeezy has been pushed off that podium, Gus. 6 seconds in the end, just too much to overcome.
Just 2/10 more he needed to gain on Crush in order to get that P3. But disappointing result there for Baitmate after that early strategy call. I'm surprised that he's only finished P7. That safety car definitely hurt his race performance, so I'm sure AlphaTauri will be back to the drawing board with that strategy call. But yeah, very disappointing for them. As Apollo Pepsi comes around the final corner as well, he'll take the checkered flag, and then we'll be off to the podium.
I wonder what Psycho have to say about the strategy call. I wonder.
I'm sure he'll put it onto the drivers there.
Yeah.
Crush picks up driver of the day. Good drive from him for sure. But all eyes on this man here, FIBA, taking out the Drivers' Championship with another win. So he'll be enjoying the week off next week, and then final 2 rounds of the season before the new game comes out, and he'll not have a monkey on his back of having to win the championship. It's already done. Just be the constructors left to get. Well done to Eckham as well, picking up P2, and then Crush with P3 after starting 15th on the grid. We've then got Sandeezy P4, Artanis, Pons and Baitmate, Bluey, Trin, and Andocat rounding out our points scorers. And we've only got Big Al after that contact with Mick Cow, followed by Captain of Gold, Combined YouTuber CJM, Apollo Pepsi, Simdog, T-Mac. T-Mac not finishing, that's right, he ended just a couple of laps before the end with Mick Cow retiring quite early on in the race, and Seb, my co-commentator, unfortunately having to retire when he accidentally found himself in a car.
We won't talk about that too much, will we?
We won't talk about that too much at all. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Seb. Hopefully will be a bit of a party there for FIBA clinching the championship there. And thank you very much for everyone else tuning in as well to the Tier 1 coverage. So we will be back in just a couple of minutes' time for Tier 2, which will be starting very, very shortly. So do stay tuned for that. But I've been Gus Rules. Thank you so much for your company. We'll see you in a bit.